welcome you. Thank you for coming. Thank you for taking your Saturday out to come for this event. Yes. I really appreciate it. And I'm happy to be able to present this information to you. Now, if you look at the screen there, I've listed out the program for this session. Okay, so basically we'll go through an introduction, and then I want this to be, as interactive as possible. So for each section we go through, there will be discussions, there will be questions for us to answer. Okay, so there will be the introduction, there will be the questions based on the introduction, and then we'll go through the Wheel of Life exercise really quickly because we did it last week, and some of you who are watching this or who are here would have seen it last week. So we'll go through that quickly, have a quick discussion about that as well, and then go on to the topic for today. So today's session, the topic is how to be selfish to succeed. Okay, I'll explain that a bit more when we get to that part of the program, and then after that we'll discuss it as well. So the format will be the same. So topic discussion until we get to the end. Okay, so let's get started. In terms of the introduction, I always like to do what I call a claimer. Okay, people talk about disclaimers when they're doing things or writing things. I like to talk about a claimer, and my statement or my claimer is just to acknowledge that the source of everything I teach, I teach about personal development, I teach about health and wellness, personal improvement, mainly for women, but the source of everything I teach is really from the Holy Bible. And I just need to make this clear, because even though I'm not here to preach, I'm not here to give sermons or anything, the whole point is that everything that I teach is based on the Bible, and it works for anybody who applies it. Okay? The sun that God made, the sun shines on believers, on non-believers alike. So in the same way, the stuff in the Bible, whether you're a Christian or not, if you do what it says, it will work for you. And so everything I teach is based on that. And quite frankly, a lot of self-improvement is based on the Bible, but they don't always acknowledge the source. They may give it another name or whatever. I'm just telling it like it is. My material is based on the Bible. Okay? So that's what we'll be learning about. We'll be learning about really how to put these principles into your daily action, daily lives, how to practicalize the things that you learn here today. All right. Everything I teach is based on the Bible. If you do want to know more about, things to do with the Bible in terms of how to be saved and things like that, that's a different story, which I'm happy to discuss with you as well at the end of the seminar. So let me know. So that's my claimer. Now, by way of introduction, I just want to share a bit about my background, my life, just so that everything you can see where I'm coming from and where the things I teach fit into everything. Okay, so starting from the beginning, I was born many years ago. I was born in Zambia. I'm from Nigeria, but I was born in Zambia. And we moved back to Nigeria when I was 2, and that was where I grew up. Okay, but while I was growing up in Nigeria, I had an experience which affected a lot of my life, but I wasn't aware that that was what had affected me so much. Yes, while I was growing up, I experienced sexual molestation. And without being aware that this was the effect that experience had on me, it was, my parents had gone out and had left somebody they trusted to look after me. And they abused me physically. And so, I told my mom that at the time. I didn't tell my dad. My dad still doesn't know. So, but my mom does know about it. So as I was growing up, this affected me in ways I will explain in a bit. But I didn't realize that that was the root cause of it until very, very recently. Basically, I just knew that for a large part of my life, I had a very low self-esteem, very low sense of self-worth. I just didn't think I was good enough for anything. That was just the way I thought about myself. I didn't think anything good about myself. And with that sort of attitude, my life was just, I always felt odd. I didn't know why I always felt odd. I mean, people would pay me compliments and things. I would never believe them because I had this belief about myself already that I was just not worth anything good, and not realizing where that was coming from. So I just grew up like that, and it affected me. It affected my performance in many areas. In academics, I was just, sailing along in mediocrity. Fine, I would get some good grades here and there, but on average, it was just an average kind of performance all across the board. Okay, and then, but at the same time, the background I had as I was growing up was one where my mother exposed us to the Bible, teachings of the Bible. It was an Anglican setting, which meant that it wasn't a very personal relationship with God. It was just, you know, prayers, we're reading off a book and things like that. But at least, you know, the words from the Bible were seeping in. They must have been, because halfway through my med school at uni, I just got fed up of being just mediocre. Something in me, I just knew that surely I was capable of doing more than I had been doing so far. So I went to the Bible. I just started reading it again to see for myself if I could get some answers in there as to how to improve things for myself. And I came across some verses there which I found very encouraging, some promises there which I found very encouraging, as long as I believed them to be true about me. Okay? So really, up until that point, my problem was I was believing things about myself which were not helping me, and that's what we now call limiting beliefs, because they were limiting my ability to perform very well in every area. But anyway, I started having a bit of a turnaround in medical school when I started reading these passages, things like, you know, that I can do all things through Christ, that I'm supposed to be the head and not the tail, things like that. You know, they just gave me some hope that maybe I could do better, maybe I was better, you know. And the more I thought about that possibility, the effects were showing in my performance as well. My performance started improving in little bits. But because the original negative thoughts were still there, it was a big struggle for me to maintain, you know, the beliefs that were helping me. But as long as I persisted in those beliefs about myself, my performance gradually did improve. And until I got to a place where I actually believed those things to be true about me, believed that I was, you know, good enough, that I was able to do everything, I was, you know, the head and not the tail and everything like that. When I believed, the more I believed those things, my performance improved to a point that, you know, I graduated from med school at the top of the year, at the top of the class. And, you know, I had this, by my final year, I had distinctions in every subject, and I was given various awards at the end of med school, including one for being the best overall student, which was good, right? And you would think that from then on my life has been nice and fantastic, okay? But it wasn't, because somewhere in med school, I attracted into my life a relationship with somebody who was, for whatever reason, I don't think they're a bad person, I don't know, but for whatever reason, they were emotionally abusive to me. And, you know, I just want to highlight right there something which I find very common in many women, and that is that people who have been abused in one area, unless they do something about the effects of that abuse, tend to attract people into their lives, men, people, whatever, who abuse them in some other area as well, unless they deal with the effects of the original problem. So I hadn't dealt with my, you know, original problem, and so I attracted somebody into my life who was emotionally abusive. And I married this person, and it was a very miserable time for me. The whole time was really miserable. I mean, I, you know, kept appearances like it wasn't, but it was really miserable. And it was the thing of mercy when that whole episode ended some years ago. And by the time that had ended, again, I had started to have these feelings of, no, I can do, there's something better than this life for me. So I started reading again, reading the Bible again, and this time I started reading personal development material as well. And the ones that intrigued me the most were the ones I found to match what I was reading in the Bible, because that just gave me a lot more confidence in what I was reading. And I started reminding myself of these things again. And the more I thought of myself in this light as somebody who was able, somebody who was good enough, somebody who could, instead of somebody who couldn't, my confidence started coming back, my esteem started building up again, and I got to a place where I just realized in myself that I was good enough. I came to accept myself as I was, and with all my imperfections, I was good enough for whatever.